Thanks, Carol.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, welcome everyone. I want to get started as I know we have a lot to share. I'm Hugh O'Neill with the Washington State Department of Ecology, the Hazardous Waste and Toxic Reduction Program. And I just want to do a couple quick things. I want to make sure that folks can open up their chat in case they want to share some comments or questions that way. And then I do want to let folks know that we are recording this webinar today. So just so you know that, and also for folks who may want to have joined us but will be missing us today, we can pass on that recording to them so they can catch up. So welcome everyone. I'm excited to share our plans for our Lean and Green program, our online course with you today, and get your comments and feedback on that. And let me do the overview for today. We're going to do a little bit of introductions about who we are, what organizations are sponsoring this class, this program, talk about our goals and objectives for the online course. Thank you very much, those of you who filled out the survey a few weeks ago. We're going to go over the SOS survey results and the conclusions we drew from that. And then we'll talk about the important details or our plan basically for this Lean and Green program. And then we'll have some time for questions and discussion. Just as a way of kind of background too, and before I introduce him, I took Brian Hurley's class, a Lean and Green class. I think it was a 2-day class a few years ago. And I just thought it was really great. You know, he's been able to really integrate continuous improvement tools like Lean and Six Sigma with environmental and energy, you know, trying to make sure that we understand the costs associated with environmental wastes, emissions, discharges, and you know, things like scrap rates and things like that, and kind of understanding how those things go together in a really deep way, and applying those lean tools and potential applications. So yeah, I'll just stop there and let Brian introduce himself.
Okay, thanks, Hugh. Yeah, I'm Brian Hurley. I have a consulting business called Business Performance Improvement. I'm based in Portland, Oregon. And yeah, once I started to make the connection with Lean and Six Sigma methods that I was doing at my job and the environment and ways that we can improve on that, it was like a light bulb moment went off in my head. And I just got really excited, and I found some of the EPA material that had come out. And so the last 3 years, I have been doing my own consulting, and the reason was to try to do more of these types of projects. I just wasn't getting that opportunity at my last job. So I'm really excited about this program. I'm excited about all the interest, and hopefully you'll be excited as well.
Thanks, Brian. And Dave, can you introduce yourself and Impact Washington?
I will. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining. I'm a project manager at Impact Washington, and Impact Washington is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to strengthen manufacturing in the state of Washington through public and private partnership offering consulting, educational, and advocacy services. And our whole goal is to contribute to a healthy Washington state economy. We're a member of the NIST organization. There's an MEP, which is under that, which we are the MEP for Washington State. There's an MEP in every state of the United States and one in Puerto Rico. And we do training mostly through service offerings. We offer an array of consulting services to assist small manufacturing businesses grow profitably. These services provide access to current best-in-class methods from lean manufacturing, human resource methods, marketing, strategy, and product development. And currently we have 22 of these different offerings, and we're excited to partner with the Department of Ecology on this. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Appreciate that introduction. And let me just add that Ecology and Impact Washington have been partnering for about 15 years, and it's been a great partnership. As in my view, Impact Washington has just a really great network of people who go to facilities, companies, organizations, really deeply understand their needs and understand their problems, potential opportunities, and then are able to put together training and consulting and solutions that really address those needs. And when companies have environmental or energy needs, then they can partner with Ecology, and Ecology can bring some resources and really kind of lower the cost of those engagements and make it really affordable for folks to reduce those environmental impacts and reduce costs. And so it's been a great partnership, and we appreciate it. Okay, so let me just kind of talk about the course goals following on from that. We're looking to hopefully get maybe 5 or 10 participating organizations. Each of those folks, those organizations, have a project in mind or a process target. Like we really want to address our painting and coating operation, or we really want to address our scrap rate, or whatever that process target is. If that has environmental impacts or energy impacts to it, we're happy to have you join the course and support you throughout. So our goals are to reduce each organization's environmental or energy impact by at least 10%, measured in pounds or gallons or kilowatt hours or therms or whatever, and save companies, organizations at least $5,000 to $10,000 each. That's our goal. We would when I report my results back to my funders, I have Department of Ecology and U.S. Environmental Protection Agency is funding some of these efforts. I need to report how much dollars did I save organizations and how many pounds were reduced. So that's our goal. So in terms of course objectives, I'll make an attempt at this slide, but I want Brian to kind of also clean up for this, and I can turn it over to him. We want to really help increase process improvement and problem solving skills. We want to give the course participants, new skills and knowledge and abilities to apply those in their current or future positions. We want to make sure we help folks implement systematic and ongoing efforts to identify and understand, their waste, the costs and benefits of those wastes and emissions, costs of those emissions, and the benefits of reducing or eliminating those. We want to help engage employees actively in improvement activities and use metrics and data to inform decisions, and really support your projects and looking into your processes through training, coaching, and consulting, and support you to assess and implement, measure, and report out on your projects. So, Brian, you want to say anything more about that, or I'll run the slides for you from here?
No, that was pretty good. I guess, yeah, I think one of the goals would be to have success on this first project and let that lead to successes on future projects too. So maybe it's the beginning of a journey of helping to reduce environmental impacts across the board at your organization.
So
you want to kick that off on the survey, or you want me to?
I could, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, Ecology sent out a survey to about 400 of the folks who do pollution prevention plans targeting hazardous substance use and hazardous waste and other impacts in Washington State. We got about 80 respondents back, and Brian's going to help us understand the results of that survey.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you everybody again for participating. So the reason we came up with the questions is we wanted to figure out a way to understand your current needs and current skills around Lean and Six Sigma improvement methods, or whatever improvement methods you're using that maybe is a little bit more structured. And then try to figure out, is there a way that we can assist and is that with training or coaching or expertise around certain impacts. So that was the intent of the survey. And so we got some really good feedback, and just again, and then summarize that at the end and what our takeaways are from the survey. So first question was around just, is there interest in learning about a combination of Lean in the environment or Lean and energy? And we definitely had some good feedback, 69% agree or strongly agree. And so with just a very simple review like that, I think that's a good sign. We didn't really give you a lot of details on what that meant, so that's great. You, next. Next one is just open. Are you open to external low-cost Lean or Six Sigma training and coaching resources? 52% agree or strongly agree. And based on some of the comments later, we did see that some people have some programs in place already. So I think the training or coaching is already happening in some organizations, so that's good. Next one. And then just trying to understand just continuous improvement training needs in general. 55% strongly agree or agree with that statement. And so again, that's a broad topic, continuous improvement. And so, you know, I think we're seeing that there is some interest there. At least half, or maybe more than half, are showing some interest in some of these ideas and concepts at a high level. Okay, next. So just looking at potential options that we were throwing out to see what kind of feedback we get. One would be around improvement projects that are focused on reducing cost and waste. And it seemed like 56% of the people showed interest in that. Offering free or reduced cost improvement, or sorry, continuous improvement training or coaching. 54% had interest in that. We also threw out an idea around a certificate program where you get a Lean and Green certificate from Ecology and Impact Washington. 49% were interested in something like that. Low cost Lean and Green training, specifically, 39%. I would say that one was really influential in some of the later discussions we're going to have here. That maybe the training itself wasn't as important as we might have thought. So that was really good feedback to get. And then offering some kind of a Six Sigma belt level or eco belt certification, only 28% responded that way. So again, very high level. So we're not going to draw major decisions off of this, but this is really going to lead into the rest of our topics around how we're going to craft an idea for you and get some feedback. Go ahead, next one. Here's some other key takeaways from some of the questions where we got really high response rates and positive results, either agree or strongly agree as the answer. So 67% said continuous improvement system. The continuous improvement system includes an ongoing effort to identify, evaluate, and eliminate energy inefficiencies and environmental impacts. Okay, so there already is some good activity happening, and that was really good to see, real positive. 65% said they do have a systematic approach to continuous improvement. That was also really good to see. And that actually helped explain some of the answers on some of the other questions and maybe why is critical. The environment's health and safety or facility and maintenance resources are included in continuous improvement efforts and events. 65% said agree or strongly agree. So it does look like we do have the existing continuous improvement program or culture in place that we can leverage. So I think that's a positive sign. And even if not, if that doesn't apply for your organization, that's something we could probably assist with as well. So we'll talk more about that. The ones that got kind of middle of the ground or middle of the road answers around the 40, 50, 60% range. The question was around continuous improvement system includes evaluating environmental and energy metrics on a regular basis. So 44% said yes. Things like scorecards, management, environmental management systems, or 14,001 reviews. So some activity happening, maybe some opportunities there. 43% said the CI system engages with the supply chain to improve enterprise-wide performance. So maybe some opportunities there to connect in with suppliers. And then integrating environment and energy considerations into your continuous improvement system. And is that embraced by operations personnel? So is there a connection with sustainability, environment, safety, health, facilities, and operations? Kind of how do they all work together? Seems like mixed results with that. So maybe some improvements on metrics and supply chain integration. There's some opportunities there. The ones that didn't score as well or lower was around Kaizen improvement events or Six Sigma projects. Are they held regularly? 39% said yes, they agree or strongly agree that those activities are happening on a regular basis. But digging down a little bit deeper, how many of them are dedicated to energy and environmental impacts? 28%. So maybe there's some opportunity there. And then 31% said they have recent value stream maps for their processes, but only 19% said that those include energy or environmental icons or metrics. Probably most of those are more performance-based around the operations themselves. Cycle times, inventory levels, quality, that type of thing. So maybe some help with integrating these techniques into the existing value stream maps or events that are taking place for the ones that are doing this on a regular basis. So these are some of the key takeaways. I kind of mentioned a few of those already, but just the ability to track environmental metrics and have a system in place to systematically go tackle those and work on those. Sounds like there's some opportunities for that based on the results of the survey. Another one was integrating the environment into those continuous improvement efforts, either through the value stream mapping activities or the Kaizen events, and figuring out how to insert energy and environment into those activities. And then a third one was maybe not having regular events focused on the environment. They might be more sporadic, it seems like. So building in a way to facilitate or help with that. And I think that's where we saw that there was more need for coaching versus just training itself. And then sounds like a certificate would be a nice little benefit of going through this exercise to kind of recognize the work that was done. So those are the things that we took away from the survey. And that's what we kind of took a step back from that and thought about what could we do that would help us accomplish the goals that Hugh mentioned earlier with cutting down the total amount of material that's being put in the landfill, or how much energy is being consumed, or how much tonnage that's being put in the landfill or being dumped. Those are the things that, to accomplish those goals, what kind of program could we offer or assist with? So for this program, again, we're thinking about 5 to 10 different organizations to get started. And we're calling this a pilot. And kind of the mindset of the lean startup approach is we don't quite know exactly what's going to work best. And so that was the intent of the survey, is to try to get some feedback. And so that's what we've kind of put together here, is based on the survey, what do we think might work? And so we're going to keep it a little flexible at first, just to be able to see how this goes. And then hopefully, if it goes well, we can continue this type of program ongoing. So the idea would be to identify projects in your facility that will have a measurable environmental impact. And that could be around chemical, water, or energy, hazardous waste, air emissions, or solid waste, or things going to the landfill. So any of those would be possibilities that you could pick a project around with a focus. Then we'd like to invite maybe 2 to 4 people from your organization to participate in the program. And then you will need to have at least one sponsor from the leadership position that can support you through that program. And that's to make sure that this project doesn't, you don't spend a lot of time on that and then you try to go implement some improvements and you don't have the support there to make those changes. And so you'll want to, we'll go through that as part of the program, is to help you pick out a project and define it and get that sponsorship support. We also wanted to open it up for multiple people in your organization to go through, so it's not reliant on one person. So you can work together as a team and kind of help each other get through the program. And then hopefully we can spread the knowledge and the approach that we use to maybe take on a couple more projects in the future. So instead of doing like a formal training class, which was part of the original plan we had, we're thinking now to try to do coaching calls. And maybe there'll be a little bit of training involved in that coaching call, but a lot of it will be around kind of giving guidance around what should be done next. So like, for example, the first thing would be to develop some kind of a charter form that lays out the problem, the business case, the team you would need, who would be the sponsor, and those types of things. And so we would walk through in the coaching call how to put that together. And then the next call might be around making sure that's done and then talking about the next step. And if we have groups that are working on similar things, we might group them together and maybe we have a breakout session and you can talk about some of the challenges you're working on. Or I can go into more depth on certain topics or tools, or we could have a guest speaker come in and talk about water and best practices around water usage and water reduction projects. So that gives a lot of flexibility based on the type of projects that are being selected. And then there may be some homework to be done in between the coaching calls. We're thinking about maybe those calls would be weekly. We might decide that every other week is a better time frame. Maybe they're 2 hours or 1 hour, or we haven't worked out those details yet, and that's some of the feedback we're looking for. But we were thinking it'd be about 4 hours per person. That is the time to be able to attend the calls and then work on some of the homework. And so that is something you want to think about. Is that's why we want you to pick something that is important to the organization, so that you've got the management support behind you to spend time working on this. And then at the end, if you complete a project and show some successes, then we can give you some kind of a certificate that says you went through this program and here is you had a successful project, and kind of for recognition for all the hard work. So as part of the course details, there is some existing booklets that the EPA put out probably about the mid-2000s that are really good. And so there's books around the chemical usage and water reduction and energy. And so we'll probably leverage those booklets as much as possible. You mentioned a course that I put together. So I've got my own examples and things I've done over the years, and plus other training material I've developed for just general Lean and Six Sigma. And so I'll integrate those things together into the training. And again, it's going to be a lot of maybe high level training until we kind of get deeper into the projects. And then we might decide that we need specific topics to cover. So maybe we need a topic on control charts, or maybe we need a discussion around experiments, or maybe Kanban systems. And so we want to leave it a little flexible so that we can provide training on things that you're actually going to need or need help with, not to overtrain. So I think that will actually work out best for everybody, in fact. And so because of COVID and a lot of other factors, we're going to do the calls virtually, of course. And then as needed, if there is on-site help that's needed, that might be something that we can arrange or figure out. But so myself with BPI and then Ecology and Impact Washington will all be involved in some way with help through your projects. And so if you think a Kaizen event might be helpful, that's something we can help arrange or figure out how to do that. And then, yeah, Hugh, do you want to talk about the course and the costs? Are you on mute?
Hey, thanks, Brian.
Yep.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out, what the course should cost to cover our costs, and honestly, have companies and organizations have a little skin in the game, as they say. And so right now we're thinking, about $1,000 per organization. If there's 2 people involved, that's about $500 per person. But you could have 3 or 4 people involved, so your cost could be as low as $250 a person. And so, for a 40+ hour training, I think that's pretty reasonable. But we would like to hear from you, if that's going to be a big barrier, because we don't exactly know how to price this offering. But if we're going to meet our goals and save companies, over $5,000, then that's obviously going to be a pretty big benefit. Of course, your time is important to us too, and we want to make sure your time's well spent. So that last bullet there, I think Brian was talking about also, we do have potentially more support available if you really want to go beyond the course, or after the course, and really do some in-depth value stream mapping, or have your company really wants to have a Kaizen event. We can certainly make a future agreement. Again, Impact Washington would be involved in that, and we can talk about that and see how we can meet your needs for further support. So this is another thing we'd love your feedback on, and Brian, maybe you could talk about this. Yeah,
you bet. So time frame we're looking at is starting to define this project in January. Get your team together, get your leadership support there, have a kickoff program, and kind of get the ball rolling with these coaching calls. And then by February, we should be gathering some data about your process, maybe doing a Gemba walk or a waste walk with your, looking for opportunities, mapping out that process that you're going to focus in on, maybe conducting some surveys, doing some other observations in your process. Then by the next month, looking at that data, breaking it down, looking for patterns, looking for interesting things going on there, diving deeper into the process, getting more understanding of the root causes of some of these problems and where there's opportunity. By the April-May timeframe, maybe you want to do a Kaizen event or a 5S event to better organize that work area, simplify the work, make it easier, reduce the chance of mistakes or errors, maybe some brainstorming activities, but basically trying to come up with the improvements that you're going to make. So you might have a lot of great ideas already with how you might solve this problem, but we want to follow the process and make sure we really understand the problem and get people involved in this process. So you're not trying to force it on people. Also, there's prioritization that needs to take place. So we got to figure out what is the biggest bang for the benefit, right? And maybe do a pilot study to test out some of these ideas. One of the facilities I did a pilot on, we were testing out a setback program for the temperature in the building. And so we did surveys to find out when people actually worked, and we looked at badge swipes to see when people were actually coming and going out of the building. And then we picked one section of the building and ran it through a 1-month pilot to see if people would complain about the temperatures going up at night in the summer and going down to a colder temperature during the winter. And the results of that pilot were well received, and that gave us confidence, and it gave us data to roll that out to the whole building. And so those types of things we can help you plan out and figure out, and that really helps sell this rollout or changes that you might want to make if it's a bigger change. So maybe the June, July we're starting to make some improvements. You're getting some feedback. You're validating these improvements. You're building these into the process. You're dealing with the change management, the behavior changes that need to take place. July, August timeframe, putting in process controls, standardizing the work, updating documentation, creating nice visuals, and starting to capture cost savings and the impact that Hugh described in the beginning. And then some kind of report out to share the results and celebrate all the hard work you did and your team did to get those results. And then we can issue out some kind of certification or certificate for that. So that's kind of the time frame we're looking at. So most of 2021 through the end of around September timeframe is what we're shooting for to finish up and have some project successes to share.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. We have, thanks everybody. Let me just put my contact information up. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yep, Hugh.O'Neill, O-N-E-I-L-L, 2 L's, at ecy.wa.gov. And my office phone there, if you want to connect that way. So if you have questions, comments, feedback, or interested in signing up for the online course, please let us know. And thanks so much for responding to the survey and participating today. I really appreciated your questions, comments, and your attention. It's valuable. Thank you.